Yeah, I did, right there. Yep.
What that thing ever do to you?
Good afternoon, board members, staff, members in the audience. Let the record show that today is April the 1st. The time is 3 p.m. And we will now call the Amherst County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Before we get to the approval of the agenda, board members, we need to amend this to remove section 10A. That's the Planning Commission report, and Mr. Pugh will not be here today. So let the record also show Mr. Pugh's absence. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The amended agenda is approved. We will now move to the invocation Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Wade will lead us in the prayer, and Mr. Martin will lead us in the pledge.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we come to you today to first give you thanks for the beautiful weather, Lord. Thank you for being with us and giving us just another great day today. We ask for your guidance as we take on the matters of the county tonight, and we ask for your protection over our citizens, our law enforcement, and emergency service personnel. We give you thanks for everything. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will now move on to citizen comment. Is there anyone here wishing to speak? Mr. County Administrator, did we have anyone sign up?
No, ma'am.
All right, seeing and hearing no one, we will move on to consent agenda. Board members, are there any questions on the 3 items listed there?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, the consent agenda is approved. We will move on to special presentations. Our first is Ms. Melissa Lucy from Horizon Behavioral Health. Welcome, thank you.
These are packets that have our annual report and some additional information in there that I will leave with you guys. First, I want to thank you for having me here today to present to you. I want to let you know that this past fiscal year, Horizon celebrated our 55th anniversary of service, and I'd like to thank you for the continued support and trust you have placed in us to meet your community's behavioral health needs, an honor and a responsibility I do not take lightly. So thank you very much. On the next page, do I just hit the over button? Okay. On the next page, it's been my honor to have been with Horizon for the past 25 plus years. To see our mission and vision has persevered across nearly 3 decades, growing to what it is today, a truly integrated, personalized, and collaborative system of care. On the next page, you will see our portfolio of services. And the thing I want to point out there is that we have multiple services in each portfolio. So for example, under emergency services, you will also find our Women's Recovery Center. You'll find our forensic services, our permanent supportive housing, and much more. You will also see on this page that Horizon's Board of Directors represents all of our localities. This is a listing of all of our evidence-based practices, and I want to note that Horizon has a new evidence-based practice. It's the in-depth tobacco cessation education program developed by the American Lung Association and is offered to students served by Horizon's Tree Grant. The program folds tobacco cessation education into a new program that was launched to serve adolescents with substance use treatment issues. On the next page, I want to say that with both local and state level support, Horizon launched 2 new services that will have a direct impact on hospital readmission according to the latest research. Those programs include Horizon's co-responder and mobile response teams, both community-based initiatives aimed to aid the individuals experiencing a mental health emergency. Governor Glenn Youngkin's 3-year comprehensive plan, Right Help Right Now, celebrated its 2-year anniversary in 2024, highlighting achievements in transforming Virginia's behavioral health system with its 6-pillared approaches to address behavioral health challenges and strength services across the Commonwealth. As the initiative approaches its final year, Horizon remains focused on delivering comprehensive, sustainable behavioral health care to ensure every Virginian has access to the right help right now, especially in our community. This is a quote, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to read the quotes to you, but I do like to include quotes from consumers in your area so that you can see the great things that we're doing. So I do encourage you to go back and read it either in your packet or in the virtual upload. Horizon continues to offer telehealth appointments to accommodate client preference using virtual meeting technology, removing major barriers to access for many clients. To note, Horizon's total client count has increased since last fiscal year, and we have seen a rise in the number of clients now coming back into the office to receive services. To give you an example of this, in-person appointments in FY 2023 were 61,802, and in FY 2024, it's 70,279. That does not include our virtual appointments. That's all in person. Something I would like to highlight is that Horizon's intermediate care facilities, otherwise known as Horizon Homes, facilitated 1,851 community events and trips, enriching the lives of our residents who look to us to provide daily, comprehensive, high-quality care. These are individuals that without these outings would not be able to go out on their own for multiple reasons. Additional stats. 1,032 individuals served by our crisis intervention team program, 2,134 individuals served by our emergency services team. On average, 138 adult pre-screens were completed monthly for a total of 1,659 adult pre-screens completed in FY 2024. You'll note all of these are community-based programs demonstrating our alignment with the latest best practices to promote access, engagement, and alignment with the right help right now. I want to point out we connected 27 individuals with severe mental illness to permanent supportive housing. These are individuals that would otherwise be homeless and would not have anywhere else to go. And we paid, through this grant, we actually paid for their housing, their furniture, basic supplies, etc. Prevention had a total of 12,211 face-to-face contacts in FY 24. This number may be duplicated and does not account for our social media website and awareness campaign. As you've heard me say before, prevention is very important because if we can catch individuals before they need the treatment, then we may catch them and they never need the treatment. This page is a direct impact of what's going on in your community. So I want to point out the figure in the color block is the allotted monthly amount for each uninsured individual served in Amherst. Keep in mind, we provide a lot more services than paid for because 1 month of case management would cost $367 by itself, and they also receive our doctor services and in many cases receive therapy services and much more. And you're getting that for the low price of $112. I'm leaving the sense off. Our Project Link program provides intensive outreach case management, home visitations, and support services for parenting women who are at risk or are diagnosed with a substance use disorder. 246 referrals were received from our local birthing hospital for substance-exposed infants. We follow up on all of those referrals to ensure that they receive treatment and that we are helping the mother and the child throughout the pregnancy and after birth. And this is a picture of our Project Link clients at Horizon's second annual Muffins and Moms event in May of 2024 with ongoing partnership with our local birthing hospital. And I do want to point out we got a release from everyone in the picture. The Rural Health Outreach Grant awarded by the Health Resource and Services Administration, also known as HRSA, to improve access to individual-based treatment for adults with serious mental illness in Amherst and Bedford counties. Currently, we are in year 3 of the grant. We have a total of 127 referrals since the program's inception. 15 participants have completed the Illness Management and Recovery Program, also known as IMR. 109 of the 119 avoided psychiatric hospitalizations, which is 91% success rate. 102 of 119 increased coping skills, which is 93% success rate. 91 of 119 are taking psychotropic medications as directed, which is 76% success rate. And 89 of 119 have improved social connectedness, which is 75% success rate. Lastly, our program management team was invited to present on the IMR program at the National HRSA Conference in July of 2023. This was quite an honor for Horizon. Relatedly, our project evaluation team had an article published in November of 2023 in an international peer-reviewed journal, Global Implementation Research and Application, on our qualitative program evaluation. Horizon's footprint in the academic and evidence-based implementation world is becoming well established, and people are actually reaching out to us to ask us advice on what we're doing to make our program so successful. The TREE grant serves all localities, but especially Amherst, Campbell, and Bedford. And our community partners have shared that this program has been instrumental in addressing the increasing use of vaping on school property. Of the 44 required 3-month follow-ups, 41 were completed, achieving a follow-up rate of 93.2%, far exceeding the 61% average for discretionary grants. Similarly, the 6-month follow-up rate of 85.2% surpasses the grant requirement and the discretionary grant average of 45.3%. This is a quote from a community partner in Amherst that I encourage you to read if you have time. Horizon's mobile response team responds to calls by the 988 hotline in real time. This is a new service where we actually go out into the community wherever the call comes from. It could be someone's home, it could be here, it could be in another community location. We go where they are at. It's a 2-person team, so we never send anybody out on their own. And it prevents us from always having to have, or not just us, from the community always having to have law enforcement or some other EMS organization go out and respond. On the horizon, you heard me last year talk about our crisis receiving center. We are nearing the end of our renovations. It was supposed to be completed in November of this year. Our renovations it's actually ahead of schedule. We look for it to be done in October. So you will be receiving a grand opening ribbon cutting celebration event invite. But we probably won't be open until around March, just because we'll have to get everybody credentialed that's in the building as well as the building licensed. But we are making great strides. You may recall we're going to have walk-ins as well as 23-hour observation. We will have all of our TDOs, temporary detention orders, emergency custody orders come there. We'll have detox services. We will also have residential crisis stay at that location. And again, it's on Fenwick Drive in Lynchburg. We picked a central location that would be more central for everybody. Again, my social media people would not like me if I didn't say like us on all these platforms. So here is my information if you'd like to reach out to me. And these are the locations that we have in your area. So you will see Horizons Wellness Center at Amherst, as well as Horizons Warren Home in Madison Heights, and Horizons Boyer Home in Madison Heights as well. Does anyone have any questions?
Board members? Ms. Lucy, what are the homes, the Warren Home and the Bowyer Home, what are they?
So they're intermediate care facilities. Those are individuals that can't provide their own needs. They could have a medical need. They would definitely have an IDDD need, but some of them can't bathe themselves, they can't walk. It just depends on the individual. And they actually live there. That's their home. So we provide all of their care from medical to daily care of living. That is their home. They have their own room there, and we take care of them, and their families come and visit them there.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and sharing this with us. Mental health disorders and the impact on the community and impact on our public safety is doing nothing but rising. So thank you for what you all are doing. The need is great, and we certainly appreciate you
Of course,
and your
thank
staff.
you. Thank you all for your continued support.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just echo Ms. Tucker. It's always nice and informative when you come to see us. You know, thank you for stepping up with that facility on Fenwick. It's definitely going to, you know, take care of a big need in the region. So we appreciate you doing that.
Yes, thank you all for your support. I think it's going to be great for the community. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, board members, next we have the Go Virginia Region 2 with Mr. Biff Johnson.
Great, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, good afternoon. My name is Biff Johnson, and I want to welcome two rock star members of the Go Virginia Region 2 staff, and Emily and Gemma. And I'm not going to pronounce Gemma's last name because I've already told her I would butcher it. So I'm a long-time, 25-plus year member of citizen of Amherst County. And I serve on the Region 2 Council of Go Virginia. And we just have a presentation that we want to go through with you today and just talk about what Go Virginia is, if you are not familiar with it, and then specifically drill down to Region 2. Go Virginia is a statewide initiative that supports programs to create more higher wage, higher paying jobs through incentivized collaboration between business, education, and government. And you can see that Region 2 is comprised, it's that green area up there, and the main office is in Blacksburg in the CRC up there. Each year, Region 2 of Go Virginia is allocated $1.5 million to fund projects that create high-wage jobs across the region, with $250,000 of that reserved for planning grants. And again, the main office is there at the Virginia Tech Center for Economic and Community Engagement. And if we go to the next one. So the funding for the projects in Region 2 are informed by the Growth and Diversification Plan, and that's what we as council members look at when we review the projects that come before us. And what this slide here represents is the information that we look at when we are going through those on the Growth and Diversification Plan. Provides a roadmap for utilizing Go Virginia funding in Region 2. It targets industry clusters that provide the greatest potential for sustainable and scalable growth. It identifies regional goals and priority strategies and activities. It identifies partners for project collaboration. And for the 2025 Growth and Diversification Plan, we are actually right now engaged in updating that G&D plan. You can see on the screen there's 3 boxes that are there. There's going to be 3 opportunities to provide input to that plan. One is going to be on Friday, April the 25th, be from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the Roanoke Higher Education Center. Then we've got one that's coming up. We haven't got a date planned for it yet. That middle box there is going to be at the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then also at the Virginia Tech CRC facility as well. Once we get a date for that, we will let you know so that you can provide input there. And then on Friday, May the 9th, from 9 in the morning until 11, back at the Roanoke Higher Education Center. And the staff uses this to review regional plans like the Lynchburg Regional Workforce Roadmap, the Central Virginia CEDs, and incorporates key elements into the G&D plan. And we do encourage the local governments and the economic development representatives to attend those meetings and provide input to the growth and development plan, because that growth and diversification plan, because obviously that guides us in how you want the money to be spent. And again, if you can't make one of those meetings, you can see either Emily or Gemma, and they will be happy to connect you with the appropriate staff members to be able to provide your input, because we know you're busy and you might not be able to make one of those meetings. But if you do have an interest in providing input, please see one of them and they will get you to the right person. The Regional Council, again, is made up of individuals from across Region 2, and we're responsible for directing the growth and diversification plan by identifying needs and opportunities in the region, prioritizes projects for the state board. So we look at them as a region, and then we recommend them to the Go Virginia State Board, who ultimately makes the decision for where funding goes. So we just look at them on a regional basis, and then we prioritize those projects up to the state board. We ensure that there's business leadership to the Region 2 Council, and then we encourage collaboration across institutions of government, education, and business. This slide gives you an idea of who is on the council, and you can see many of those familiar names up there who represent this portion of the sub-region of Region 2. So the region is broken up into 3 different regions. You've got the New River Valley, Roanoke, and Lynchburg. Amherst is obviously in the Lynchburg sub-region, and you can see there's good representation from that sub-region. Just start a few folks: Paul Denham from Southern Air, John Capps from Central Virginia, Janice Crawford from Framatome, Rich Diddams from Liberty University, Kaylee Edgerly from SUNY Merriman, myself from Lynchburg and Amherst, Kimball Payne from the Berkeley Group, and Luke Tolles from Pinnacle Financial. And again, that's the group. We meet every other month and review the projects and also monitor the existing ones that we have going on already. These are the target industry clusters that we have right now. The Growth and Diversification Plan is 4 interrelated clusters that offer the greatest potential for sustainable and scalable future growth in the region. And again, our whole goal is to get higher wages in the region. You can see there's life sciences and biotechnology. That's obviously where healthcare comes in, IT, engineering, and emerging technology, transportation and autonomous manufacturing, material and machinery manufacturing. And again, these were informed by the input from the regions into the current growth and diversification plan. So we're taking the input for the new one now. You can see the average hourly wage for all workers in Region 2000 is $24.85, and then those targeted clusters where we're trying to focus our energy and our efforts is a little bit less than $10 higher than that at $34.18. So again, we're trying to put the money where we can get the best return on the investment. The core strategies is the next slide. So we have innovation cluster scale up, where again, we're trying to address the technical and business support to accelerate and promote those clusters. Entrepreneurship and business development, where we're promoting access to capital, funding, and mentorship and training programs to support entrepreneurial activities and business growth. Talent development and attraction and retention, and you'll see we're going to give some example projects here in just a minute that have been funded here in the sub-region of Amherst County, where we're addressing the need for talent and higher medium wage jobs, and then the collaborative sites and infrastructure, and obviously Amherst County has been a recipient of money that's gone into that. Now, looking at a few of the specifics of the funding that Region 2 and Go Virginia have put into this region, the total impact for Region 2, again, if you recall that whole area, was 53 funded projects, and this is through December of 2024, $16.2 million in Go Virginia funding, $17.9 million in matching funding, 831 jobs were created or filled, 1,881 credentials that were awarded by the different higher education or high school programs, 2,359 businesses were served. Let's drill that down into Amherst County because, again, that was Region 2 wide. So let's drill down and look at what Amherst County participated in. We had 15 funded projects. We had $4.1 million in Go Virginia funds, $5.1 million in matching funds. There were 161 jobs that were created or filled, 1,331 credentials that were awarded, and 134 businesses that were served. And again, that's Amherst County specific. Now again, realize that some of those projects may have been a regionally funded project like through the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance or those, but it was funds that came into Amherst County at the same time. The Virginia Sites Ready program is a perfect example of that, and I'm going to start getting into some of the specific examples now. So we had the Amherst Lynchburg Region Sites Readiness Program. As you all are familiar with, the VEDP program and the Governor's Initiative wants to elevate sites in the tier program so that they get more attention when there's industries and businesses that are looking to either locate or expand into Virginia. And so the Go Virginia participated in that. There were 266 acres, 15 lots that advanced from Tier 4 to Tier 5 in that program. And in partnership with Amherst County, the EDA, the contribution was a $125,000 match. Another one that we are all very familiar with is the Central Virginia Training Center redevelopment. There was a master plan that was put together with that. There we go. Was it advancing on its own? Maybe it's trying to get me to rush through a little bit faster. So, Region 2 Go Virginia provided funding to the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance to help fund that master plan redevelopment program, and that plan, as you all know, was developed and approved by the Amherst County Board of Supervisors. Other projects that are in the region, the Beacon of Hope. Now, this is one that typically we think of as being a Lynchburg-specific program for the Beacon of Hope and providing funds for students to go, back it up there, there we go, funds to go on with their education after high school, but they are looking to expand that program in Amherst, Alta Vista, and the CVCC capture area. And so Go Virginia provided funding for that initiative as well. Then the next one is through the Central Virginia Community College, the CTE Academy. Funding went to that for developing that. I don't know if you're familiar with that gentleman right there, the bearded guy right there in the middle, Danny Murphy. He's just a tremendous professor over there at the community college, and the programs that he's doing in training our high school and our post-high school folks for being ready for these high-paying jobs that are in their region. They are just doing a fantastic job. You can see outcomes there. 1,204 students have been trained, 761 credentials, and 21 businesses were served. And then the next one, I think I skipped one there, Liberty University with... remove that one, okay, so skipping one. So Randolph College is another one that is looking at educating engineers through some CTE initiatives. They've, just like Sweetbriar, they have a program for an engineering program, and so Region 2 has also funded that initiative there at Randolph College, provides opportunities for our graduates to move on to the next level of their education. And then finally, wrapping up, again, the call to action for us at Region 2 to Amherst County is to think about projects that could be funded, initiatives, whether it's a business entrepreneurial venture that is in the county that you think could be funded, participate in the implementation and the education of the growth and diversification plan through going to the meetings, reaching out to the staff. But we love to fund projects, and we're looking for opportunities. They were excited because we just had 4 projects that came to the table, and we love to have more projects that would come forward from Amherst County. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Board members?
Mr. Johnson, could you go back to the slide about the region when it's compared to Amherst?
That one?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So when you look at that, it looks like Amherst is doing very well, right? Because it's a big region. And I think that's attributable to Victoria Hanson and her staff, because they're the ones that are going out filing all the paperwork for this, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're-
Victoria, thank you so much for what you do. Want to make sure you're recognized. I mean, that's just points out the great stuff that you and your staff do. So thank you.
Thank you for recognizing that, Mr. Martin.
Board members, any other questions?
Madam Chair, Mr. Johnson, I appreciate your presentation. And as you went through, I noticed you noted many times about CTEs and skilled workers and things of that nature. Can you expand on how much or how in-depth the involvement is between what the District 2 team, for lack of better words, or Region 2 team is doing in conjunction with our school systems to promote trades, right? Because here in Amherst, obviously with our high school expansion, we're trying to enhance our trades, and obviously I think everybody can recognize the need for trades people in the workforce now. Can you elaborate any further as far as how these maybe marry up together?
So would you guys like to tackle that one?
Sure.
And then, go ahead.
So we have a number of other concurrent projects happening, especially in the Lynchburg area, that is tackling kind of educating educators or connecting with K through 12 students. So Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance, they just wrapped up a planning grant focused on connecting K through 12 students with manufacturers in the area. We've also funded and passed part of the Worlds of Opportunity expos at CVCC. So having those, I believe they're middle schoolers going to CVCC, interacting with manufacturers in the region, understanding what opportunities are available. And so we have about 5 other projects that have either wrapped up or are currently wrapping up. Or for instance, like the Randolph College one that's current, trying to connect with K through 12 students so that they understand opportunities available, but also educating CTE instructors, guidance counselors, so that they can pass that information on to students.
Is there a tool to measure that interest moving forward as far as?
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a moving target, but is there any way to assess, how we're capturing the interest in trades moving forward to when they get to a point to they're in workforce?
I know that we talk about it a lot internally at the council level. It's a very kind of obvious metric of how do you capture that. Some projects that have come forward have 10%, that 10% of their students that they would touch in these CTE programs would go on to CTE at the high school level or CTE at the community college level. For Go Virginia, we don't have an answer yet. If you have any ideas, let us know. But yeah, to your point, it is difficult to capture that.
Sure.
We just try and educate as best as we can. Just hope that we at least get 10%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Biff.
Thank you.
Mr. Wade, you have anything?
Yeah, can you expand on the type of credentials that you're speaking to on this slide specifically? So, and the reason I'm asking, I'll get to it, I'll go ahead and throw it out there.
Yeah.
It looks like about 70% are awarded to folks in Amherst County, but I don't see that same percentage in jobs being filled. So, can you expand?
Sure.
And
Well,
could you speak into your microphone,
Oh,
please, so we
yes.
can all hear you? Thank you.
Yes. So just to clarify, I think your second question, the impact in Amherst County, just to clarify, jobs created, credentials awarded, matching funds, et cetera, might apply to other counties that a project impacted. So there weren't 1,300 credentials awarded for Amherst County. A large amount of the credentials awarded for Region 2 is because of the CTE Academy at Central Virginia. And so in their 2 years, they awarded almost 1,000 credentials. Credentials that would apply would just primarily have to fall in line with our 4 target industries. So it might be CompTIA credential, a phlebotomy credential, trying to think of other ones, but more short-term workforce training is a credential.
I noticed in talking with your relationships with our institutions of higher learning, I saw Liberty mentioned, I saw Randolph mentioned, obviously CBCC, but I didn't see anything from Sweetbriar. And notably, Sweetbriar has an outstanding engineering department. They've got 9 women now that are in the pipeline straight to UVA's graduate program in engineering. So they're doing some really important things, and I want to make sure as we go forward that we're going to include them.
Absolutely. We'd love to have an application from them to help them with any of their programs. We take it on an application basis, so if an application comes through, then the consideration would be there. So if you know of a specific project that we could help them with,
I don't know of one, but I know somebody who does.
Yep, let's
So
get them
we
in
can,
touch
we
with
can, we can connect the dots there.
That's what
I
we're
will say we actually had a meeting with Sweetbriar last week, specifically around engineering, and so we're going to be touching base with them in the next couple of weeks about a potential
Excellent.
project. Yeah.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate your time. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next we're moving into old business, Emergency Services Council Standard Operating Guideline, the SOG approval. Chief Beam?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Great to see you today. As you all know, a few weeks ago, we came to you all with our first pass at this, took some feedback away from that meeting, made some of those improvements, we think. Got feedback from multiple people, and hopefully have put you a product together in your packet today that we think we're pretty proud of. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have.
I know our concerns earlier were just some of the verbiage was either unclear or not quite accurate. So I see that you've kind of cleaned that up. But board members, any questions?
No, first, I state for the record that I'm the chief of Amherst Fire Department. These guidelines do not affect Amherst Fire Department solely. They're countywide, so I believe I can vote on these fairly and equitably and whatever the other standard verbiage is. But Chief Beam, thank you. I know you and I had some discussions about it, and you went back and made a few revisions, and I think these are very well written now and will serve our county well. I believe we need them seriously in place. Unless Mr. Adams wants to make the motion, I will.
No, go right ahead.
So I move the board approve the presented standard operating guidelines for fire response in Amherst County.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you and your staff for all your work on this.
Absolutely. We'll get with our dispatch to get some of these things entered in our CAD system, and we'll hopefully have a rollout date of May 1st. So,
Thank you, Chief.
thank you all very much.
Moving on to our Parks and Recreation Master Plan approval, Ms. Packer and Mr. Nixon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Board. Thank you for having us today. I'll also say that from Hill Studios, we have Greg Webster here as well. We'd just like to take the opportunity to say thank you for all the support that you give our department. Without the funding and the resources, it wouldn't happen. And this is one of those examples. It's been a long, hard work, a lot of effort, time put into this. Hill Studios was contracted to put this master plan together, and we've worked over about a year and a half now to get it done. And we think it's a good plan. From your last meeting in March, we presented the master plan. We're not going to go through it today, but we did make some updates from the discussions and from staff and from the board requests. We added the Piney River Trail, the Blue Ridge Rail Trail information there. We included possibly some lighting, extra parking, some benches and that type of thing at that trail. We also included some more verbiage along the Appalachian Trail along 130, providing some more safety measures as well with some potential solar lighting and that type of thing for the parking areas and places where people access the trail. Excuse me, I gotta put my eyeballs on. Also went back to Recreation Advisory Board of our meeting in March, and they prioritized the parks in the master plan as to the priority that they felt like they should be, I guess, worked on and constructed over time. And I think they looked at it, in the top three were the three parcels of land that we currently do not have any facilities or amenities on, and that's the Kilgore Community Park property, the little town urban park here in town, and Mr. Patel's property, the Madison Heights Park. Those were the top three that they felt like should be our top priority going forward, since the other parks do have facilities, amenities in them. And really, we're just here today to ask the board to approve the plan. The advisory board did discuss and voted there were two options in the plan for Coolwell Park. One of the options was to keep the convenience center. The other one was option one, and option two was to take the convenience center away and provide amenities where that convenience center was. They recommended that we just leave the convenience center, which would be option one. And then the other one was the town park, the urban park. I believe it's the Shaner House. Is it Schrader House? Excuse me. They recommended that building, that house, come down as option one. They felt like that the funding and the monies and resources to update and keep that building, that money can be used to put other amenities and other things in that park and other parks, just because the overall cost to repair and update that building. But that's our recommendation today, is to pass it based on the recommendation by the advisory board, to pass our master plan and include option one for Coolwell Park and option one for the town park. And if you have any questions, Hill Studios is here, and I'm here to answer.
Board members? While they're thinking, I do have a question. What's now referred to as Kilgore Community Park. When people come to me and say, what are we going to do with it, and I ask for feedback, I mean, everybody seems to want some type of a music venue, a place to listen to music, outdoor music, and I mean, I'm not saying a big festival type thing, but a place to go and hear music. But I didn't see that in here. Was that an oversight, or did I perhaps miss it?
It's something that could be added, could be put in. I mean, to me, a master plan is a guide. Mm-hmm. Okay. 5-10 years from now, when we get ready to do some of these parks, we may make a change, to be honest with you.
So it's a living, working document?
Yes, it is. Because I look at the year and a half that we've worked on this, it's amazing how many different things have come up that people wanted, or, it just hit their mind, hey, this would be great if we could do this. So to me, it's a living, working document. And I don't see a problem with that being added, some type of amphitheater or something like that within the plan at some point. We did include it in some of the other parks, some type of amphitheater. I think we did it the Madison Heights Park. There was a lot of ideas. We reached out to so many different organizations, groups, businesses, people, students, the schools. We tried to get information from anybody and everybody. So,
I will add, Randy, that one thing that precludes us from doing a large amphitheater on that Kilgore site is there's a conservation easement that's on that piece of property. And so you're only allowed to develop certain types of things on that property. So if you decided to do an amphitheater, you've also got to consider what type of structures go on it, how much parking the site can handle, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember when they were going through all those deliberations, that the previous owner was very careful to look at how much rooftop that he could put in there and still be able to meet the
That's right.
conservation easement. And so it can be done.
Yeah.
But you're right, you do have to be cognizant of those
Sure, yeah,
restrictions.
yeah.
So, Mr. Martin, this has been your project for a while.
It has. So first, did you guys have anything?
No, go ahead, Go ahead.
So first, Mr. Nixon, I definitely appreciate the work that you and your staff does to make our park special places for our citizens. Hill Studio, you knocked it out of the park again. It's no downtown 2040 plan, but award winning, but I'm sure this could very well be. It's one of the best parks and rec plans I've seen in my career. I think it does exactly what we needed. It lays out, the needs and prioritizes the needs, and it is a living, breathing document. So, again, very well done.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate the community input that you got, and the only kind of reservation I have about the plan, and I definitely support the plan. I support the two options for the park. I do not support demolishing the Schrader House. And I would make the motion that we that we adopt the Parks and Recreation Plan as presented by Hill Studio per the recommendations by the Amherst County Recreation Advisory Board, and leave it at that. And when we come to putting money into that park, we'll make the decision as a board. But I'm a preservationist. I don't support tearing that house down. I'm not going to go on record supporting it. So that would be my motion.
Yeah.
Board members, is there any conversation about the motion?
Yes, Mr. Martin and I will probably have to agree to disagree on the Schrader House, but I guess that could be a topic for a different day. Again, I'm gonna reiterate what Mr. Martin said. I appreciate everything that everybody has done to put this master plan together. This has been a long time coming. Impressive master plan. It's exciting, and because I think it's also a key component to local government to be able to attract people to Amherst County, right? I guess my question may be more for Mr. Bryant. Once we have adopted this master plan, how much discussion have you had with Mr. Nixon and maybe even the Parks and Rec Board about how do we go forward as far as the implementation plan, and what does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. You may recall we did, for the one solar project we approved, the funding that we could get for that, we appropriated. It ends up being on average about $10,000 a year.
Yeah, I think that's correct,
As we
yes.
get that money. That won't come in for another couple of years. That's a little small funding stream. We will need to start building it into next year's budget and then all future budgets with CIP request and other types of requests. So we'll have to start programming budgets around this. And thanks to Mr. Nixon and Hill Studios, we do have a good outline of projected cost, although we know that'll change. And then a priority list, right? So that'll give us our focus on what we'll focus on.
Right.
And then, of course, as we mentioned, it's a living, breathing document, so if we need to update that and change it, we will. But we'll work off that priority list that's in the end of the document.
I believe the number one priority was the Kilgore Community Park.
Yes, it was.
So speaking of that, and Ms. Tucker, you and I'm not sure, so the name, the Kilgore Community Park, was that just because Mr. Kilgore and his, I guess, donation of the property to the county? Is that how we
Yes,
tagged it that
I
way?
think so, yeah.
Because after speaking to Mr. Kilgore, I'm not sure if it was his desire to have it named that.
Well, at first, he didn't want it to be Kilgore Park.
Yeah.
He didn't want that. And so then, we were talking, he said, you know what? He said, how about, can we do Kilgore Community Park?
Okay.
Because his kids were on board with
Okay,
that.
that's fine.
That's
I just
how-
know he and I had a discussion that had come up, so I just want to make sure that he was okay with that. So, I just, anytime we put a lot, or obviously we collectively, but you guys did the hard work. Anytime something like this is established, I want to make sure we have a roadmap going forward, right? To make this stuff come to fruition. And yes, of course, it relies on budgetary availability and constraints. But that's my only other comment. But again, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
In line of naming the parks, if someone comes up with $2 million to help build a park, we'll name it whatever they want. So,
Yeah, see if you can work on that, Mr. Nixon.
yes, we will try that, see what we can do. We'll call it the Chris Adams Park,
No, let's not do that. They may not attend.
Anyway, also along the subject of the Kilgore Community Park, it's high visibility. There was a lot of conversations around that, and I'm tickled to death that it all worked out. Again, it's high visibility. What is our plan during the summer, Mr. Bryant, to make sure that it's well kept, looks nice, and doesn't look like a grown-up parcel?
It's now on our Public Works mowing schedule. At the moment, we're bush hogging it, but right when we first purchased it, it wasn't on our mowing schedule. It is now on our mowing schedule. So that's the plan right now until we can program it and fill it up with some of these great opportunities.
All right, good.
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Nixon. Thank you to your staff, Hill Studios. This is a beautiful vision of where we need to go as a county. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, board members, we need a motion.
I think
You
Mr.
have
Martin.
one.
Oh.
Mr. Martin already made one.
There is a motion by Mr. Martin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, next we have our fiscal year 2026 proposed budget. County Administrator and Finance Director will lead that discussion.
Yes, ma'am. This is a summary of what you directed us to do at our last meeting. This is the FY 2026 proposed budget. The highlights of the budget were a no increase or change to any tax rates. I think that's probably one of the most important pieces of this. And I'll say that one more time. We didn't propose or increase any tax rates. Health insurance cost to employees mitigated to no premium insurance increase for employees. 3% cost of living adjustment for employees. Ambulance funded with the future fund. Capital projects funded are 2 at the moment. The reassessment, which we're already in, and the second phase of the courthouse HVAC system. And then one thing that we didn't have at our last meeting was the schools funding. Schools, as you know, they came back to us and they're cut their budget so what we will provide them is level funding for Amherst County Public Schools. And I think that's important to say because there was a lot of discussion about our funding. And again, we didn't cut funding. I want to be clear about that. This is level funding for the Amherst County Public Schools. And so we will need a proposed a public hearing for this budget. So the recommended motion is that you direct us to advertise this, the attached budget, the school budget, the solid waste budget, and the tax rates for the public hearing. And it's a called meeting, so it's April the 29th at 7 p.m. So I just want to be clear on what we're asking for. We will have to advertise that in the newspaper. And then our plan is to have the adoption of the budget at our first meeting in May.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Board members, any questions of Mr. Bryant?
Just an observation. So thank you to you and your staff. You always work very hard to make this sausage into a budget. Yeah. Takes a lot of input. There's a lot of, long meetings, hand wringings, difference of opinions. Just want to point out, or at least ask for clarification, that the schools went back. We did not cut their funding. We provided them level funding, right? And they were able to accomplish almost everything that was in their original budget, right? I believe there was a 3% COLA. There's no passing on of health insurance cost.
to their employees, and I believe there's also more funding in that budget for classroom instruction, all right? So, yeah, just to point that out. So hopefully next year will be better with the reassessment, and we'll have to tackle that bridge when we get to it, but thank you for all the work that you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for those points of clarification, Mr. Martin. Board members, any other comments?
The only thing I would ask, and this may be, I'm not sure if this is you, Mr. Bryant, or Ms. Felix, but I've had several employees, obviously, they have watched the rollout in all of our discussions, either online or in person, when we discuss the healthcare changes. Obviously, anytime you discuss healthcare, that brings a anxiety, for lack of better words, to some people, especially people that have higher needs, so to speak. Have we put the information out to our employees as far as what this looks like, what to expect, and how this may impact them financially?
Ms. Felix, will you come to the mic? Thank you. While she's coming up, I want to make one point of clarification. The schools, as I understand it, are going to ask for a transfer of their funds. That's going to be coming. So again, it won't be any additional funds from the county. It's my understanding. I just want to.
Well, that's just a carry forward funds, right?
Dr. Wells is going to send me an email explaining, yes. Okay.
But we won't, I'm sorry, Ms. Felix, well, I'm
Problem.
squirrel, I'm off, you know?
It's my fault.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on Jeremy this time. So when do you think we will be at that point to know what that carry forward number is gonna be? Because,
They currently have about 5 million already.
well, I know that's in their capital fund per se.
Well, that's their carryover money. That's what they're gonna
I
ask for the
understand, but I'm
transfer
talking
from.
about, because have we addressed like last fiscal years yet as far as that carryover money?
Yes, sir, it's in the 5 million.
But did that come before us to where we can make a decision?
You don't have to. You have a resolution and it just automatically goes in there at the end of the year based on the audit.
Okay,
But they will add, my understanding from Kim is, from Ms. Lakonich, is that they're asking for it from the current, from what's sitting there now, because we won't have that number in July
They're
for
not asking-
2025.
They're not asking for the full 5 million.
No.
They're asking for, was it the school bus money?
it was school bus money and one other item.
I think it's $500,000 or something,
So
somewhere around there.
that's what you're talking about.
Correct.
That they're just gonna ask
Correct.
them funds. Okay, I
Correct.
completely get that.
Okay. I
Right.
They
just want.
can't do it without authorization from us.
Yes, all right,
Right.
I misunderstood
I just
and I
want-
apologize for
Yeah.
that. However, let me back up. So you're telling me that now there's a standing resolution, policy, whatever it is, amongst the county, at the end of the fiscal year, whatever monies they have left over is automatically just put in there, in that
Yes.
fund?
That was put in place before I got here. It's been that way for a long time.
They still have to ask for it.
But they have to ask you to spend it and tell you what they want to spend it on.
So what that money, my understanding is, and it's like this in a lot of other localities, my understanding.
A lot of localities have this
At the end of
resolution.
the end of the fiscal year, if they have leftover funds that were unspent, that was approved in their operating budget,
Right,
that money comes out and goes into a capital pot, right?
correct?
And it's sat there for their needs.
That's right.
So if they come up, whatever, need a roof, need a school bus, any capital move, they can come and say, board, we'd like to buy a new school bus. Can we use a portion of this capital money to buy that? So, I mean, otherwise, so to me, it's pretty smart because, you know, they're
Incentivized.
they're incentivized to save money throughout the year, plus we're responsible for the buildings anyway. So the money's set there in a pot and grows or diminishes over
Yeah, and
time.
I will say, we wait until the audit so that Kim and I can balance to that number. It's a much larger number last year, but that has to do with some grant money that, the way it was recorded, but we balanced back to the number that we have now. She and I work on that after the audit's finished. So we don't make that move, like, we won't make the move to put that money in the fund until probably January of next year.
Okay.
We'll have an estimate, but we won't know if it's right or not, completely right until we square up with the auditors.
Mr. Adams, you act like you got a horsefly on your back. What's the matter?
It's a big one too, Ms. Tucker. It's a big one. But anyway, no further questions.
Okay.
Oh, but I'm sorry, squirrel. Back.
No
I'm back.
problem.
I'm back, Ms. Felix.
The day after the meeting in which you all authorized us to contract with the local choice, I sent an email out to all employees explaining everything that I could tell them to that point. I have been working with Pierce Group daily since then to finalize what those tiers are going to look like and the rates. I'm still working with them. I anticipate a letter going out to the employees before the end of the week that we normally send them 2 weeks before open enrollment starts. We did have to back open enrollment up till April 14th this year in order to meet the local choices deadlines. So they will be getting this week one letter, and then they'll be getting more materials the following week. And then open enrollment will start April 14th and end on May 9th.
Okay. Do we have I'm assuming we have electronic portals to be able to
Yes.
do open enrollment?
We also bring people here in person. They'll have the opportunity to do in-person one-on-one sessions with the benefits counselors, virtual one-on-one sessions, and they can also self-enroll.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure they have the information that they need, just because I've been presented a couple times about that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board members, any other questions?
No questions, but I will say, I want to just say I appreciate what Mr. Bryan and Mr. Martin said regarding the clarification that we're not cutting the school budget. It's just maintaining a flat, just because I know I've been hit with a number of questions about that over the past few weeks, so appreciate that. With that, if Madam Chair, if you let me, I'll make the motion to direct staff to advertise the budget, the school budget, the solid waste budget, and the tax rates for a public hearing on April 29th, 2025.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Wade. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Wade. All right, next we will move on to new business, the Rural Rustic 6-year road plan. Mr. Brown, one of my favorite topics.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. I think you all have received a copy of the draft of the proposed 6-year plan for FY 26 through 31. And you also have just a draft of the rural rustic priority list for the same calendar years. But I want to share some with you. I didn't have this information last year when I came. I want to make sure I had it this year. In Amherst County, we have 61.12 miles of unpaved roads left in the county. That's the outstanding balance. And we didn't do a lot last year because we had a little gap in the funding, but we are anticipating completing 3 projects this calendar year. Kenmore, Walnut Springs, and one more. So hopefully we'll get back on track and moving along with getting some roads completed. First thing we'll look at, if you like, would be the proposed 6-year plan itself. It's not a lot of changes. The priorities are the same as they were last year. The only difference in this plan and last year's plan, we were able to add 2 projects to the end of the plan, which they'll be funded in FY 31, and that was Long Branch Drive and Summer Hill Road. They are 2 projects that were added to the 6-year plan. All of the other roads you see in priorities 2.01 through 2.11 are projects that were already in the plan, in last year's plan. So there's not a lot of changes other than adding 2 projects. If you want to look across the top, unfortunately, our unpaid road funding has been reduced. If you look at the proposed allocation in FY '26, we're looking to get 343, 128 in unpaid road district grant money and 65,395 in telefees. And you see that drops off in the last 2 years of the plan. And then if you look in the very front of your column, you see the previous year's allocation was $463,000. So it's been, our unpaid road funds are taking a hit, and it's throughout all our counties, but that's what we are anticipating receiving. So at this time, any questions about the proposed plan?
Board members?
Madam Chair, I have a couple from Mr. Brown. So I guess, let me follow up, I guess, to tag on to what you were just talking about as far as the decrease in the revenues that you guys are getting for the rural rustic for Amherst County, and said all localities are falling off. Is that proportional, what you're seeing?
Yes, I'd say it was proportional. And they're falling off also because we have paved a lot of roads over the last 14 years. Ever since secondary road funding came back for unpaved roads, we didn't do much last year, but we've been hitting about 4 and 5 miles a year in Amherst County, and like Nelson County has a lot of unpaved roads. They have been getting a lot, yeah. So that's part of it, but part of it is the competition for state highway construction funds. I mean, it's however they work the formula, and I'm not an expert on how they break that money down, but I would say it's proportional, yes, sir.
Okay. So go back to your Amherst County Rural Rustic Priority Plan. So you've got priority 1 through 6, and there's 2 added on, and I'm assuming one of them was the one I talked to you about, Mr. Bryant, the Kersey Road, 636 to Route 610. But there's one on there, Mr. Bryant, number 5, which is Beverly Town Road. How familiar are you with, because we took a ride up Beverly Town Road a couple weeks ago on a Sunday, and I realized that thing has been surface treated all the way to the National Forest. I had no idea the amount of money that has been put into Beverly Town Road going all the way to the National Forest. And it's still on the list. Do we know?
No, this is the section below.
Is this the one going toward Perra Road?
Yes, 610, yes.
So at the intersection
To the left.
of Lovelady and Beverly Town, where it's going from there back to
Yes.
Perra Road?
Yes.
Okay. So were these prioritized by the board?
So this is how this works. The 6-year plan are the items that have really probably been on for quite some time, probably even more than 6 years. Those are the roads that they start on the rural rustic list. As we knock them off the 6-year plan, we move them up as they reach that 6-year funding. Okay?
Okay.
And so that's a great question. We've debated that almost every year. Do we prioritize them based on traffic or distance or different factors? We don't. We've been doing first come, first serve, at least since 2006. So they're not. As someone brings it up or they come on, they get added to the bottom of the list and they move up. And what's challenging about this is there is an expectation, at least on the 6-year road plan, that when someone's road gets on the list, they're watching it move up that list. And when we shake the list up, we hear about it later because people keep an eye on the list, especially the 6-year road plan. Did I make any sense there? Did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah, it did.
Yeah, and I'll say that, I've been on the board now for 16 years. And when I first came on the board, found out about this program, I was just giddy because I didn't know that we had a mechanism to get our dirt roads paved. And so we have really, I think, made good use of this. And Mr. Adams, to your point, I think it's a responsibility of these board members, if they hear from their citizens and their constituents about a road, to come forward and advocate for that road. And that's what, the 5 of us are here to do. And I'm very proud of the roads that we've gone from dirt to paved.
Yeah, I think that was my point, Ms. Tucker, and I'm glad you commented on that because I'm catching quite a bit of heat about one of them that's on here that's in my district. So I didn't know if we had a mechanism, obviously, but we all might get in a cage match in here for who's going to.
Bring it on, bring it on.
But if we have any mechanism for reprioritizing or bumping any up a list at all, so.
Well, I share this every year. This is the priority list. You, the board, set the priority. I'm just a keeper of this list. You can keep this list if you want to and give it to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But this is y'all's priorities, and I'll do it any way you would like me to do it.
Okay, but Mr. Brown, if I may, Ms. Tucker. So if we go to the 6-year plan, right? And 2.01 is Kentmore Farm Road, right?
Yes.
And 2.02 is Walnut Springs Road. And if you look at the amount of available funding, we're gonna be lucky if we get those 2 done this year. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, if you look in the last year, Mr. Martin, we had, in 31, we had almost $289,000 to program. That's what we went by as far as what projects we could add, looking at the total cost of those projects, what we can add to the plan.
So what I'm getting at is what can our citizens expect to see paved next off of this list?
Next year,
Yeah.
in 26, we are looking.
And I'm sorry, but.
No, that's fine. If you look on that list, it has a planned construction season. Next year, we are hoping the funds will be programmed for Getty's Mountain.
See, my spreadsheet's in like 3
You gotta
different
keep
sections.
on going down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your word for it, because mine is like in multiple pieces.
Yeah, mine is too.
I can't see that, you're just gonna have to tell. So Getty's Mountain will be done this year or
No,
next year?
26.
26.
Calendar year 26.
Okay, so everything on this list is kind of already prioritized, and it's just moving up as funding becomes available.
That's it.
And if you go to the rural rustic, all right, these are things that would eventually move up, right?
Yes, sir.
And it sounds like the priority has already been kind of ranked for 1 through 6. So, right,
Now-
or no?
Yeah. I do want to clarify one thing, and I hadn't clarified. If you look on your priority list, some of these roads do not have 50 vehicles per day on them. To be eligible.
On the rural rustic or on the?
rural rustic
yeah.
list, if these roads must have 50 vehicles per day to be eligible for unpaid road funding.
Okay.
And what I do.
See, that's on 2 pages too.
What I do is I ask for a special traffic count to get the latest official traffic count. And if they do not have 50 vehicles per day on, we cannot fund them with unpaid road funding. We could fund them with telefees. That's a different part of secondary road money. We could fund them with telefees, but we cannot fund them with unpaid road money if they don't have 50 vehicles per day on.
So Mr. Bryant and I kind of had a very similar conversation that you were talking about, Mr. Adams, is if we go in and we start, even though it's 6, maybe 8 years out, if we go in messing with this, you're gonna upset a lot of people.
Yeah, I get it.
But what I do think would be really smart is for these 2 new ones that have showed up on the list, right, is that we start putting a process in place to look at, you know, how many trips per day are on these roads? How many houses are actually on these roads? Does it really make sense that these roads are in front of some other roads? You know, is it just somebody called me and asked about this road, let's put it on the list next year? Can we look at all 65 miles of unpaved roads in the county? And I'm not saying we're gonna do it between now and May, all right, but can we get a list of all those roads? And maybe that's a good, retreat thing for us to do in the fall or whenever we're gonna do it, is let's look at the roads and see which ones, let's get some data and actually look at what makes sense to put on this list.
Is that something that you can put together for us? Is that easily capturable?
It should be, yes. Yes, it should be.
So, Mr. Brown and Ms. Tucker, if, on that document you just showed us that you walked up here with, the one that has the 8 items on it?
Yes.
All right, so over there at the end where it says TC/volume, I'm assuming the traffic count /volume per day.
Yes.
Those vehicles per day, excuse me. So those numbers that are there, is that what you guys have captured on the traffic counter, or is that what it would need to?
No, those are the latest published traffic counts that we've counted them.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
these
those are the latest counts, and those counts may be 3 or 4 years old because they did not count unpaved roads every year.
Okay.
And if I want to get an up-to-date count, I have to request it, that we do a new count on them.
I just like to note that mine's got the highest traffic count.
Nobody cares.
Well,
Which one is that? Beverly Town?
Curzon Road.
Oh, Curzon Road, well, that's,
I just had to throw that out there.
Oh,
I
yeah,
appreciate
well,
it. I appreciate y'all listening.
Poorhouse Farm Road has had a lot of development in the last several years. So I'm sure that we've made it over that 49 by now.
I'm
If
sure
we
once
haven't,
they
you
stay
tell
on
me
board
when you're gonna
another
measure the
20
traffic, and my friends and I will be there.
yeah.
That's all right. I'm going to ride that road tonight back and forth. You can bet on it.
Actually, Ms. Tucker, that, yeah.
All right, board members, any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'd make the motion that we direct staff to advertise this for May. Is that fairly close to what it's supposed to be?
Mr. Martin has a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And so following up on that request for the unpaved roads, so you'll be
I'll work
working.
with Jeremy.
And
Thanks.
Working on Stage Road, right?
Yes.
I know, all right, cool.
Got the latest email from Mr. Winstead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so, okay.
See, I don't like the way this is going.
What's that?
That was a long time ago.
All righty. Our last item on new business is the opioid abatement funds expenditure. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my. Almost forgot the sheriff. Sheriff Ayers, you're going to talk to us about an equipment grant?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members. The Burham Justice Assistance Grant has become available, and this grant provides up to $75,000 of funding toward law enforcement needs. What we're asking is for a total of $74,130. You'll notice that's a change probably from the one that you all had in your packet. I think that one listed $66,700. In the last couple of days, they had, the new rifles had come in. They looked at a magnifying lens that goes on the back of the optics on these weapons, and so that was added in that. The items that are requesting to be purchased are the Nova Think Center. It's software used to retrieve data from cell phones, criminal investigations. 5 hard drives. Additional hard drives obviously are to utilized by investigations to store backup evidence. 17 AEDs. We've gotten in pretty bad shape on automatic external defibrillators in the patrol vehicles. When I came back, there was a room full of non-functioning ones, and we were trying to get all of them back get one back into the vehicle. So that is 17 of those. 10 spike strip systems. These are used in pursuit situations. If an officer's in a position to get in front of a vehicle being pursued, just used one of these the other night. That pursuit probably lasted a total of about 8 to 10 minutes, I think, and it was over with. They were able to deploy a spike strip, and within half to 3/4 mile, the vehicle was non-functioning because the tires were flat on, and they were able to bring it to a close pretty quickly. 25 personal computers. A lot of the hours in the office have far beyond their life and need to be updated. 200 flash drives. These will be utilized to store evidence, and we're inundated with FOIA requests, and we have to use thumb drives to put video footage and whatnot on when it's being requested under FOIA. The other 2 items are illuminated scopes and thermal scopes for rifles, and the last one is the aim point magnifiers that I discussed with you earlier. Out of this, the equipment total is $74,130. The grant will provide funding, if totally approved, will be $55,597. And I'm not before you all today to ask for any additional funding. Our part, if it's totally funded, would be $18,533, and we have adequate fine revenue funding to take care of that in the event that this grant were to be approved. Any questions?
Thanks, Sheriff. So what is the timeline? When will you be going after this grant, and how long before you find out?
The application's due the 8th.
Yep, that's what I was getting. She would submit it's ready to be submitted now. It's due by the 8th. Normally, Stacy, what's the turnaround on these? Probably 60, 90 days at least before we'd have.
Byron takes a while.
Yes.
They're probably one of the slowest.
All right, thank
Yep.
you. Board members?
Yeah, Sheriff, I fully support this, and you do what you want. I would hope you would coordinate with Chief Beam on the AED.
Yes, we're using Zoll so that if EMS, they can just
Swap out.
swap leads
Should
and
be a
keep moving
con, they
on.
would
Yes,
be.
sir. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, and this may be more for Chief Beam, do we have any other mechanisms? And I know, because I feel like I'm safe to say that the EMS license for the sheriff's office is no longer, correct?
That is correct.
That's what I figured. So, do we have any other creative mechanisms that we could use RSAF to be able to do this, to where he could potentially use these funds for some other equipment needs?
Yes, sir, it's a great point. We were able this past year to apply for an RSAF grant. They were able to do that alongside of us applying for one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with everything that's gone on at the state level, Office of EMS, both of those applications were denied.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
we did try that. Yes.
Okay. All right.
For AD. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Wade, do you have any?
Nope, I'm fully supportive of this. So good to go.
Madam,
Go ahead.
were you gonna make a motion?
But you go ahead.
All right. Madam Chair, I'll go ahead and move that the board approve the sheriff's office request to apply for the Burn Justice Assistance Grant and allow the 25% match to be paid from the sheriff's office portion of their fine revenue funds.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
board.
Sheriff.
I really appreciate it.
Now, it is our last item on new business, opioid abatement funds. Ms. Leslie Sprouse.
Getting it pulled up. Awesome. Thank you. There we go. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Leslie Sprouse. I am the grant administrator here at Amherst County, and I am here today to request approval for expenditure of opioid abatement funding. Just a brief, sorry, I forget there's a microphone. Just a brief recap of how Amherst came to have this funding available. The funding is distributed from the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, or the VOAA, after litigation was formed against several major opioid distributors. Funds are to be used to aid localities in the battle against the opioid epidemic only. The funding distribution began in 2022, and it is scheduled to continue through 2039. For a full history of this litigation, more references and information resources, they are available at www.oaa.virginia.org. They've got tons of resources and detailed information regarding that. Once Amherst County found out that we were going to be receiving these opioid abatement funds, the Amherst County Opioid Abatement Committee was formed. This committee is comprised of several departments with various levels of expertise to bring to the table on how to best navigate and manage the use of this funding. That committee is made up of Jeremy Bryant, Stacy McBride, Chief Bradley Beam, Dr. Tim Hoden, Karen Tanner, Jason Metter, Lieutenant Greg Jones, Joni Tables, and myself. There are three ways in which Amherst County can receive funding from the VOAA. The first one is the direct distribution. These are non-competitive funds, and they are directly distributed to Amherst County as settlements are finalized. The second is individual distributions. This is competitive funding. It requires an application along with a complete project narrative. Once that is submitted to the VOAA, their board reviews it and funding is either approved or denied. The third way to receive funding is through the gold standard. This is a percentage increase to the individual distribution of the locality if the locality follows a stringent rules of abatement funding outlined in the Virginia Code 2.2-2370. And I do have a copy of that full code printed for you if you would like to review it further. This screen here is just funding details of what those possible amounts could look like. These are estimates over the course of the 2022-2039 and are subject to change based as settlements are finalized over time. So, since we started receiving funding in 2022, what has the committee been up to? Meet Drax. Sorry, I lost my place. Amherst County was offered a unique and time-sensitive opportunity at the beginning of the 24-25 school year. This is Drax. He is a 2.5-year-old yellow lab who is certified by the Virginia State Police Canine Association, and he is trained to detect over 13 different odors. Drax became an official member of the Sheriff's Office on June 10th of 2024, and he has become a valued member of the staff. That is showcased in a decrease in the number of incidences that have taken place at Amherst County Public Schools of drug substances as well as vapes within the schools. Some projects that we are looking to move into for the opioid abatement and use of funding is we are working in conjunction with the Amherst County Sheriff's Office to purchase 2 next-generation drone systems. The first one, which is the top one there, is the Brick Lemur 2. This is a small tactical unit that is used for indoors and small confined spaces. It gives a visual advantage with searching suspected location of drug operations. It also establishes an additional measure of safety for our officers. Rather than sending a human being into an unknown situation, we can send a drone to kind of mitigate the risk of that potential situation. The second one there is the Skydio X10. It is an aerial unit used for surveillance. It does have thermal imaging and night vision capabilities. And while these units will be housed and owned by the Amherst County Sheriff's Office, it can be used in tandem with Amherst County Fire and EMS should they have a search and rescue mission that needs to take place. But the primary use for them will be opioid abatement. We are also looking to partner with Amherst County DSS to upgrade their current technology for testing individuals for substance use. They are currently contracted with a lab where they collect a urine sample and send it off for testing, which delays response. We are looking to transition them into rapid follicle hair testing. It is highly accurate and is done in-house to remove that wait period, as well as the intent for DSS to better ensure that we are placing the vulnerable youth of Amherst County in substance-free homes. The committee is also looking to partner with Amherst County Court Services by allocating a portion of the direct distribution funds to help them purchase an evidence-based online programming. That programming is called Third Millennium Classroom. It is a substance abuse programming. It is utilized currently in over 4,000 universities, high schools, middle schools, and court systems across the country, and it does have a high success rate. This here is an estimated cost breakdown of what it would look like to contribute to each of those programs should you approve funding today. The total cost is $95,133.11. Amherst County currently holds in direct distribution funds $220,907.66. We are looking to pursue the competitive individual distribution as well as adhering to the gold standard percentage increase. The committee has been working diligently to create a project narrative that will meet the needs of our unique community. Cut some of it off, I apologize. This is the Opioid Abatement Task Force for Amherst County. This project is an expansion on the highly and well-received Right Before Your Eyes program through the Virginia Cooperative Extension. We're kind of putting our own twist to it. We're making it mobile, we're making it more interactive, and we are making it educational for both children and parents and guardians, where currently the pop-up style version they have of it is geared more towards parents and guardians and educating them. As you can see here, this is the logo that we had designed for this project. This is a raw image of the 24-foot trailer that we're looking at. It will be built out. What you can see there is a diagram of what that would look like once the build out is complete. On the outside of the trailer, there will be 2 televisions on either side of it that will have rolling information regarding opioid use, the epidemic, the hazards, and more. That information will be updated, that programming will be updated as information evolves. Before the inside of the trailer is geared more towards parents and guardians. Before you walk into the trailer, you'll be given a piece of paper, and they'll ask you to write down things that look kind of suspect in the trailer, things that you think might look alarming or just kind of seem out of place. You have a limited amount of time that you can walk through the trailer, but you can't touch anything. Can't touch it, can't pick it up, can't play with it. It has to stay there. Once you exit the trailer, you will be debriefed as to what it is that you missed. And 9 times out of 10, most people missed a lot. What will happen then is they will go over with the parents and guardians the things that they did miss. Red flags, things to look out for that might indicate that someone or a youth in your life might be experimenting with substance abuse. The outside portion of the trailer is going to be geared towards the children. It's very interactive. We will be utilizing the Fatal Vision kits, THC goggles, as well as opioid goggles, and they will be asked to complete a series of activities while wearing these goggles that kind of imitate what it would be like to be under the influence of these substances. These activities will range from anywhere like sorting things, navigating things, even to drive a pedal cart through a series of mazes to see if you can actually do it. So the entire cost breakdown for this is laid out here. This is the estimated cost breakdown. That's going to include the purchase of the trailer, the build out, the technology, marketing, all of those pieces. As well as that bottom box, there's what we're going to be looking at on average for the sustainability cost of this project. The sustainability piece will be, the funding utilized for that will come from the direct distribution that's planned to schedule out through 2039. It is the intent of the committee that this trailer be utilized through Amherst County Public Schools as well as in local community events to get that information out there to the parents as well as the students. The more people that we can educate, the more likely we can try and mitigate the risk. Wrong button. There we go. I have several members of the committee here. Actually, I think I have everybody but 2 here today to answer any questions that you all might have. I'm here to answer. They're here to answer. Do we have any questions?
Board members?
I have a couple, Ms. Tucker.
Good.
So, first off, and this may be directed more towards Sheriff Ayers and Chief Beam. Sheriff, currently, your officers are not doing officer deployed Narcan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are doing that now?
All of them, to include myself, have been trained and do have
Okay.
that readily available in vehicles.
So, has there been any discussion, where is that being funded from, Sheriff?
It's grant funded, I believe. It's through DCGS or one of the other. I don't think there's any cost to the county for that.
Okay.
Sheriff,
So-
would you mind coming back up here, because I know we're going to have a couple of questions for you. Thank you.
Come on, guys, come hang out with me.
Leslie wants some company. So we have a revenue stream for that, because that's why I wanted to make, I wasn't sure, shame on me, I didn't know your guys were doing that as
Yes,
of right now.
yes.
Okay.
All of them receive training and they keep it on board all the time.
Okay. And now, Chief, with yours, since we're currently, yeah, you may as well come up here too. Since we're currently funding your pharmacy program, I know probably the Narcan is probably a very small percentage of your pharmaceuticals, but do
We've
you
not
see any
looked at-
advantage of this at all?
We've not looked at that. I think that would probably be one of the few other question come up about EMS and what we could fund EMS related from these funds. We've really dove into that. We've evaluated. Yeah, do you want to speak to that? Sure. So that might be the one piece of EMS that we would be Narcan, which is probably, we're talking a couple $100 a year maybe. It'd be pretty minimum, I think.
Okay.
But I can come back to you with that amount.
There is a list, and I have that list available for you all, of what the remediation uses can be utilized for within this project. They outlined it beautifully. And there are very limited resources for fire and EMS regarding that. Narcan is one of them. Some of the other uses that they do outline for fire and EMS is going to be your syringe surrender, your harm reduction. Another one that they also offer for all first responders, whether it be fire and EMS or the sheriffs, is that if there is an incident that takes place when they're dealing with a call regarding substance abuse, if trauma incurs there, that they can cover counseling for those first responders that endure that.
Okay. So, for the trailer, I think it's a great idea, especially interacting with the school kids, because I don't think it's any secret that a lot of this is starting now at a younger age. As far as staffing goes, what is the plan for staffing the trailer while
I'm gonna let Miss Tanner, Miss Tanner take care of that answer.
And she appears.
Like
She
I said,
appears.
they're all here.
Okay.
Join the party.
So the Right Before Your Eyes program has been something that Virginia Cooperative Extension has been doing since 2018, I believe is when we started it. We've found more success when we've tied in the 4-H youth program. So when there's some component, because parents walk into a school, it's almost like admitting for these sessions that I have a drug suspicion in my home. If we can get it to where we come to them, we come to the communities, we come to the community event. It's just something that's available as, you hate to say entertainment, but that's what it's kind of seen as. So the more we've popped up in places across the state with this program where we found where it's not so, I feel like I have to admit as a parent that I need help. You don't have there's similar programs that do this, but they're run by local police stations. And then they see, oh, well, we don't get parents there. Well, you're not going to, because then the parents are admitting that there's a problem. So coming in from an extension program, from a 4-H standpoint, they're seeing it as an educational activity, just naturally where we are in the community. And so it would be run by our extension primarily our extension program and volunteers that we train to run the program. And so that, that back end of the trailer that is devoted to our youth is run by our 4-H agent, Debbie Lester. So she had a huge piece of planning what that was going to look like.
Okay.
And so it'd be something that would be pretty much run by our extension office and our trained volunteers, which we have an elaborate volunteer program.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions, Mr. Adams?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Wade?
I don't have any questions. I think this is a great idea. I'm fully supportive of everything y'all have laid out here, so thank you.
Mr. Martin?
Just off the wall, how long's the trailer gotta be used for that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How long does the trailer have to be used for the classroom what's the life of the,
For as long as we can keep it going.
Trying to get a trailer out of it?
The
I am
sustainability.
a realist, so.
Sorry.
yeah.
The goal and the intent of this is to have all of these different departments work together. So as the sheriff's office has their night out, as the extension has their programming take place, the school has their programming and events take place. The goal is, these are annual events. These are things that take place within the county every year. We want to roll this out at every single event so that way we make sure that we are hitting as much of the community as possible with this information. So as long as these events take place, the goal is to have the trailer there to educate individuals.
Okay, thank you.
And you may have mentioned this, but I'm going to put in one more plug. Can we have the trailer at the fair?
That's the goal.
Good. So I have two other questions. One, this is for the sheriff. On these drones, Sheriff, do you have to contract the operation out, or do you have guys and gals trained for this?
No, ma'am. We have operators on the public safety side. He's got several of his folks that operate them. Got one of our folks, actually two of our guys here that have the ability to operate those. So we've got some pretty good talents right here amongst us.
Good deal. I figured it'd be homegrown. Good for you. And this might be for you, Chief, the hair testing opioid detection device, is that considered a piece of durable medical equipment and with all the requirements there, or is it just something else?
I don't believe so.
I got it. I think I can answer that one.
Perfect. Way out of my area.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Jason. But essentially what happens is this is a company that we're dealing with. I won't scroll back to it, but they offer the training for that, so they can do it there in-house. There's not going to be any kind of like special medical requirements or things along those lines. It's removing hair, putting it in the tube, putting it in the machine, and rolling on. It's a lot more sanitary than their current testing, which is collecting urine samples and sending them off. So it's less likely to be contaminated, and again, more hygienic for the staff at DSS.
All right, you've answered everything I've got. Board members, are we ready to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the board appropriate opioid settlement funds for the expenditures proposed in the K-9 purchase.
All right, motion on the floor by Mr. Wade. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thanks, everybody. This is obviously a group effort, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, County Attorney, you got anything?
I have nothing new to report today.
Liaison Committee reports, of course, Mr. Pugh's not here, so we've scratched that. Brings us back to citizen comment. Anyone here wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close citizen comment and move on to matters from members of the board. Mr. Wade?
Nothing today, ma'am.
Mr. Adams?
I have nothing.
Mr. Martin?
Just a shout out to our great interagency cooperation, the sheriff's office, the volunteer departments, Department of Fire and EMS last night. There was a missing hiker up on the Appalachian Trail. Used technology, teamwork, and found her fairly quickly. So good job. Sheriff left, but anyway, good job, Chief Bean. There you go. Yep.
And I don't have anything. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Move.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.